Hey guys, another video of just work that I've been doing. I haven't been posting much recently, so I figured I might as well just post some work that I've been working on. Show you some progress. Um, so this is a project I've been working on recently. Wanted to see if I can make a kind of like an RTS game. Thinking back to the old Command and Conquer style games, uh, StarCraft, Warcraft 3 is coming out soon. Just something along those lines. You build a base, you produce units, and then you fight with those units to take down your opponent. So here I have a set of buildings. This is based on the Command and Conquer universe. Each building will have a functionality. I have a power plant. It doesn't really look. They don't look all that great, but this is for development purposes. So I can identify which buildings which. So we have a power plant here, which is going to produce power, which will disable your defenses, and maybe increase the cost of your units, or make the queue time longer. You can do whatever you want with this. We have three production buildings. One is going to be like an airfield, which will produce air units. A factory, which produces vehicles, tanks, and a barracks, which will produce infantry units. On the left side here, we have a communication center, which will handle like your radar, your second tier, your second tier units, your second tier buildings, stuff like that. So it will kind of like unlock the second tier of your of what you can do. And this tall building here will be the tech center, technology center, which kind of like unlocks your third tier of units, so unlocks your most powerful units and unlocks your most powerful upgrades and whatnot. And then here we have a refinery system, which is going to be your currency, or your what's the word? Currency is best I got. It's not the word I'm looking for, but it's the word I'll use. It'll be your way of harvesting your currency, your monies that you can spend on units, buildings, whatever you want to spend it on. In the bottom right here, we have three buildings that are inactive right now. This one here is supposed to be a Gatling turret. I know it looks hideous. And this one's supposed to be like a cannon turret. This one should so the Gatling should theoretically be effective against infantry units and possibly air units, while the cannon is mostly effective against armored units, vehicles, tanks, etc. And then this last one here is supposed to be Tesla tower. So what I kind of want to do with it is once it tracks its target, it'll fire its shot or its electric bolt at its target. But if there are other enemies nearby that target, or allies to that target, it'll kind of like branch off and do like a chain effect to 3 or 4 enemies. So it can hit one, but it chains off to hit multiples if they're close together in close proximity. And that's all. That's all the buildings I'm working with right now. In the bottom right, you'll notice I have kind of this like little GUI system with all the named buildings right now. This was the first thing I worked on. I can go ahead and build my build everything, and I've created what's the word? Okay, I'm really missing out on words. I can't speak. A hitbox, collider. I forget the word. Oh, hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. There's a detection on whether the building can be placed there or not. Each building has kind of like a box planter surrounding it, indicating what space it's taking up. I'll show you afterwards. This is all placed on a nav mesh cube. So by every time I create a building here, it kind of like blocks off a section that these little infantry can't walk through. So it does take up space, and infantry is not just going to be walking through it. Each of these buildings can be placed. So go ahead and just put that down. Airfield was the one I had the most trouble with. getting, but since it has been fixed, thankfully, so now I can just put it however I want. But you get the point from that. I got a little building system here. So I didn't implement zooming. I should have implemented zooming because they're pretty small. But I have 5 infantry units here. I can go ahead and click them individually. They can move. Um, and I'm wondering why my selection system's not working. Because I have a selection system that works. Oh, I didn't enable it. Okay, so I have it disabled right now. But in the bottom left, you can see here that when I do my uh, selection box, anything that's within the starting point, so I click here, anything that's between here and the point that I release will be selected. And in the bottom right, the debug for that is indicating I'm selecting it, but um, I've either not implemented the code or I've disabled it for now because I believe there was a bug that I found with it. So yeah, I can select these. They can move. As I said, they can't move through buildings. They can move right beside buildings, but they can't move inside of them. It's like in here, there's this gap. This is literally just a platform that you can walk on, but because it's a building space, I may have just contradicted what I just said. No, I must have clicked there. Okay, so that works, yeah. What you notice when I click on the units, the GUI system down here kind of goes away. That's going to be replaced later with certain unit abilities, kind of like unit health, so you don't have to rely on the health bar that you see in the world space. I kind of want to add like a health bar here, maybe an image indicating what kind of unit it is. It's like if it's a rifleman, it's going to be a picture of a rifleman, or maybe just a rifle because I can't do art. But yeah, each unit has its own type right now. So the rifleman, I believe, is you. Maybe not. Good luck figuring out which. Okay, found them out. This one would be rifleman. Then we got rocket soldier. Nope. This one rocket soldier, followed by sniper, railgun, and a commando unit. So the commando special is gonna have like special abilities. If I'm basing this off of Command and Conquer, we can look at various units that they have. I've recently been playing Command and Conquer Generals, so the first one that comes to mind is um, Colonel Burton, where he can plant explosives on buildings and they just blow them up in one shot or 2 shots, depending on how tough the building is. So that yeah, he'll have some abilities that will be down here that you can activate. Right now, the barracks is the only building that I have set up that you can actually click and activate or select. And you can go ahead and create buildings, create units from them. I have not implemented the production queue, but you can still create units. I'm going to create riflemen. And if I had that mass selection, it would have been so much nicer, because then I don't have to individually click them. Uh, can't do commando. I only have one. I already have a commando on the field. So that's that. Snipers, cool. We got snipers. And now I have a bunch of units. So what I want to do is, now that I have one production building working, I can go ahead and create all my infantry. The next plan is I'm going to come down here to this Gatling turret. I'm going to create the AI for that so that it will shoot at enemies. And the reason I have them so spaced out, I'm going to kind of put like an area of effect around them that doesn't quite reach over to the other. In the future, it'll be updated so it can, so it has longer range. I'm going to give it shorter range. But just for the purpose of testing, I'm going to move these kind of like apart so they don't hit each other, or they don't interfere with my testing. Maybe I'll just drive one and move it up here. But I want to test with all these units that I can create now. I want to create the AI for the Gatling turret, which is supposed to be effective against infantry, and have them fight each other, or maybe just have a mass slaughter where the Gatling turret kills all the infantry. that's my next plan. I'm going to create this Gatling turret AI, which should be able to more or less be copy and pasted over to the Canon AI with some changes. The Tesla is going to be a little bit different. We'll figure that one out later. Pretty sure I got an idea of how I could do that. So that's the next plan, is to get the Tesla defenses and the health systems on the units. Probably move on with the factory as well. I already have one of the models or fake models from the tank game that I also did a video on that I could probably throw in here and work with. And after that, after getting the production for the barracks and the factory, the airfield I'm gonna kind of hold off on, and getting the defenses working, I'll probably move towards working on the Q system and the Q system power and the refinery for harvesting resources. Resources, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, I knew I wasn't completely inept. So harvesting resources, building a Q system, developing the systems for all the vehicles, and working out powers, how that's going to affect the base and the user interaction, and finally the base defense systems. That's all that's coming up next. And let's not forget about the GUI, because we want to have like special. We want to have health bars down here that indicate our our player health, and the mass selection, which is there, just not enabled, or yeah, not enabled. But yeah, that's the progress for this RTS that I'm working on right now. So far, so good. Once we get all the base and the units all working together, then I'm gonna move on towards the development of team-based combat, so that I can manually build two bases on both sides. You take control of one, you have to destroy the other to, theoretically win the game and then go back to the lobby or the menu. And once I have that kind of like game system in play, I'm going to be trying to convert this into a networked game where we can host this online through a server that I have set up, and we're going to be connecting through that server uh, remotely from any desktop or any device that can really run this Unity project, and we're going to see if that works. We're going to see if two players can play the game, control their own base and units, and fight against each other if they can. That's the ultimate goal, because that's what we're looking to do. This is a project based on, um, first of all, recreating a kind of like a childhood game, which nostalgia just hurts a lot, feels so good, and trying to work with networking. Um, so the first implementation will probably be using UNet, the built-in Unity, which is mostly for, um, words are escaping me. UNet's mostly used for you kind of just like prototyping, from my understanding. But what I ultimately want to do is try and build my own code for the server. I have dabbled with it a little bit. I played with Dark Rift already. I'm looking at Photon, trying to figure out little test scenes with that. But ultimately, that's what I'm looking to try and make is my own kind of networking that you can connect to. So hopefully this all works out. And that's my progress for the RTS. We'll hopefully see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.